All right, hello to all my Houlka Attendance Center teachers and staff. This is your principal, Mr. Golding. We're going to try something new, so bear with me, but we're going to try to have a faculty meeting without actually having a faculty meeting. I realized that with spring break coming up, everybody's really busy. I really wanted to have a faculty meeting yesterday, and it just didn't happen because it was a little bit too short of notice. But anyways, we're going to try to do this without actually meeting in person. Today is February 28, 2019, and in our profession, we always have to keep trying and new things and learning new things, so it's something we should all do. So this is me trying something new, so, I'd appreciate your feedback on this if you like it, if you don't. But we're going to watch this faculty meeting together, and then I'm going to have your faculty meeting sign-in form in the office. So once you've watched it, you can sign off. And of course, give me some feedback on what you think about this. But I wanted to meet with you real quickly about observations and kind of the direction that I want Houlka Attendance Center to go in when it comes to observations. And right now, there's a hard truth when it comes to observations. And having just finished up my formal observations, I see it now more than any other time of the year. But our current teacher evaluation model, and this is talking about the state as a whole, not just Houlka Attendance Center, the whole state, it does not really add any value to student learning. Right now, teacher observations are more about compliance rather than actually growing students, which is what they're actually intended to do. And so what I would like to do, I'd like to go through what observations kind of look like, what they could look like, and where I think we're wanting to go as a school when it comes to these observations. So I want to put a few things into perspective. And I did steal this from Dr. Kim Marshall. If y'all have never heard of Kim Marshall, he's a expert in education. I'd recommend y'all looking him up. But Kim Marshall estimated that each teacher teaches about 900 lessons a year. 900 lessons, 900 hours with students, and that's different students throughout the day. Sometimes, especially if you're secondary, you're seeing different kids. If you're elementary, you've got 900 hours with the same kids most times. But if you've mapped that out, it would look a little something like this. Each box represents 1 hour of instruction with students. And so let's talk about real quick, if there was this fairy tale world and I was able as a principal to watch you as a teacher every single hour of the year, all 900 hours, and I was able to give you a score between 1 through 4, which is according to MDE what I should do, for each hour of instruction, let's talk about what that would look like. So this is our first example. This teacher right here would be an all-star teacher. They're earning 4s most of the time. When they're not earning 4s, they're more than likely earning 3s. And so just to review real quick, if you're a 4 teacher, according to MDE, that means you're pretty much perfect. You don't make any mistakes. You're doing everything that the accountability growth rubric requires, and you're doing that day in, day out, every single lesson. And I hate to break it to a lot of people, but 4s are a very rare thing. They should not be happening very often, and that's just life. I mean, we're not going to be perfect day in and day out. We want to be, but we're just not. 3 is where you should probably aim for. That means you're a pretty good teacher, and you're going in there and you're trying your hardest. And if you're earning a 3, you're doing a great job. If you're a 2, you're sufficient. You might be considered average. And then if you're a 1, you're pretty much ineffective, and that could be for a lot of different reasons. So this teacher right here is a all-star teacher. They're earning 4s, they're earning 3s, but even notice that even the all-star teacher earns a 1 every now and then, and this could happen for a lot of reasons. Maybe there was a fight during that period and that teacher could not teach, and so therefore they earned a 1, or maybe they got a bad migraine or something and it just wasn't their day. So this is an all-star teacher. This is what most of us look like. This is your normal teacher. You're a 3 teacher, you're coming in, and you're trying your hardest every day. And you know, you have some days where you're a 4 and you're really knocking it out of the park. I like to think that on the days that I had kids, you know, I taught a lesson and then I told kids that they're going to take that knowledge and make a website from it. And I was trying to do some very rigorous things. I want to think that on those days I was a 4, but you also see that this teacher has some days where they were a 2. And, you know, like say, for example, I didn't really know the content that I was teaching as well as I should have. And so therefore my instruction was weak and it suffered. So this is your normal teacher, and this is where a lot of us at Houlka kind of fall. And this teacher here would be considered a sufficient teacher. They'd be a little below average, and overall they're not very effective. But you know, most days you're going to get an average result from this teacher. Notice that even this teacher earns a 4 from time to time, so that's good. And I'll talk a little bit about that here in just a minute, because that's kind of what our formal observation system looks like now. But we'll get into that here in just a second. And then lastly, this is your teacher that is just all around ineffective. You can see at the beginning of the year they might have been a 3 teacher, and then it didn't take them long to kind of slack off. And this could be for a bunch of reasons. Maybe they're not doing lesson plans. They don't have a clear direction of what they want to teach. Maybe they're just got some boring instruction going on. For example, I always think of the Ferris Bueller's Day Off scene where he's just sitting there and he's lecturing the kids and he's answering his own questions, and it's probably the most boring bit of instruction that, you know, is captured on camera. But this teacher overall has some weak teaching practices, and you know, I kind of imagine them saying, all right, when you finish this worksheet, go grab the next worksheet, and it's up to the worksheet to teach you. I'm just here to pass out the worksheets. So once again, this is a fantasy world where we're able to see all 4 of these teachers every moment that they're at school, and we're able to give them a grade based off that. And you can see by the tallies there, that's their overall scores. And if you divide that out, you know, you'd get your teacher growth rubric score. But that's not how observations are, and that's where I'm kind of driving at. This is not how observations are currently in the state of Mississippi and at Houlka Attendance Center. So what we do currently is I will email you, and you'll set up a date that you want me to come observe, and I will come in and observe. And you know, it's really a big dog and pony show, and we do our best, and we may not be doing our best on every day, but that day you're going to see our best. And it makes me think of that that teacher down here that's ineffective and getting 1s most day, but every now and then they got a 4 because I bet you they knew that their principal was going to come in and observe that day. So what I want to do is change it up a little bit, because currently the observation system right now relies on snapshots rather than a true picture of what is happening. So going back to our hard truths, there are 3 hard truths that that are just something that is non-negotiable. The first one is that our children learn considerably more from teachers than from others, and that's because of our effective day-to-day practices. If you have a sub in your room, if you're missing a lot of days, if you have a sub in your room, they are not learning as much as they are or they would have been if it had been you in the room. It is what we do day to day that makes the difference, and and it's just true that some children are going to learn more from other teachers than they are from some other teachers. So that's just one of the hard truths. Another hard truth is that every single school, including Houlka Attendance Center, has a variation in our teaching effectiveness. I mean, we have 4 teachers. We have 3 teachers, we have 2 teachers, and we have 1 teacher. Every school in the United States and dare say the world have this bell curve of teachers here. And the last one is that the children that walk into school with any kind of disadvantage have a greater need for good or great teaching. And I will tell you, and I'll be the first to say, and you can quote me on this, our students at Houlka Attendance Center come to us each day with a disadvantage. We have about 80%, give or take, that are on free and reduced lunch. We have a multitude of things that are taking place outside of the schoolhouse that are beyond our control. So it is more vital for us than, say, a school in an affluent neighborhood to give good or great teaching every single day, every single period, every single class. We just can't let up on that, or our kids will suffer, and our kids will suffer quicker than the others. So, like I've been alluding to, the traditional way of doing evaluations are weak. This is kind of what that looks like in a picture. You know, we do the pre-observation conference. That might take you 30 minutes to fill out the form or meet with me. I come to your room for 45 minutes. We observe. I write up this big 2-page report, and that could take up to 2 hours. You know, whoever did this, it says 2 hours. I don't usually use that long. And then we had that post-observation that's supposed to take 30 to 45 minutes. And so you can see here that that is 4 hours out of a day for one teacher to be observed. Another bad thing about the traditional observations that we do are that they're just infrequent. I mean, we do formals once a year. That's not enough time in your classroom to see how you're doing or see the true picture, or to even change practice in the way that would best benefit our students. Another thing is that we see optimal rather than typical teaching. We see the dog and pony show rather than really what is going to take place on a day-to-day basis. And this makes it very hard for us to honestly see and accurately assess our teachers. It's just, and you know, thinking about it for you, you're getting me in your room and you're getting a 2-page report on the formal observation, and that's just overwhelming for you to have to read that and then have to make all those changes that I might have recommended. So the way I like to think about it is, imagine if a basketball coach that remained silent throughout the entire game and waited till the very end of the game to coach the players. That's going to be an ineffective basketball coach. But that's kind of what I'm doing as a principal. I'm coming in your room, I'm staying for a while, and then I'm waiting till the very end of the process to coach, when I should be coaching throughout the year and throughout the day. So I think this kind of puts it in perspective. If you have a good coach, they're going to try to fix you right there in the moment. And if there's something that needs to be fixed, if there's a problem that needs to be fixed, we can take care of it and then go on and give the best to our students. So we're kind of at a crossroads. On the left, you see the evidence, the evaluation, the compliance. That's what MDE wants. The Mississippi Department of Education wants us to be compliant, fill out the form, to do what we need to do. What our students need, however, is improved teaching and learning. And the best way for us to improve teaching and learning is for me to get into the rooms as often as possible. And, you know, if I see anything that needs to be corrected, have a face-to-face conversation with you, and let's just go ahead and get that corrected and do the best we can for our students each day. So this is what I'm recommending, and this is what we're going to start doing here at Houlka. We're going to make our observations more frequent. They're not going to be announced, and they're going to be very short. I would like to come into everybody's room, and I'll show you what this will look like here in just a little bit. But I'm thinking like 10 minutes or so. Come in, see something, you know, and coach you on what I would like to see different, or, you know, tell you keep doing what you're doing. You're doing a great job. So this is really supposed to be like a low stakes kind of thing. This is just going to be me and you having a conversation, and in the best interest of our students, you know, can we do this differently to better help our students? So this is a picture of, at the top you can see the traditional method of 4 hours. This is what I'm recommended, is the mini method, which is 10 minutes. I come into your room for a mini observation. 10 minutes, me and you meet face to face, and I will come to your room. You won't have to come to the office, but I'll come to your room and we'll have a face-to-face conversation about your instruction, about what I liked, you know, about what maybe recommendations I might have. And then another 10 minutes for me to come back to my office and type you a quick email so you have a written record of what we discussed. And, you know, maybe it would say per my email, we discussed that you should be using a timer for bell ringers because that helps students with stamina when it comes to state tests. So I would just come back to my office and I would type you a quick email and send that to you. So that's kind of where we're looking at going at Houlka Attendance Center. I wanted to get y'all together and talk to y'all about that, but I think this is going to be an efficient way of kind of relaying that information. This is books. These are some books that if you are interested in this process, want to know where I kind of got this from, you are welcome to read. And if I could recommend any one more than the other, I'd recommend Leverage Leadership down in the bottom left. It is a phenomenal book. If you want to know about what my philosophies are as an administrator, read that book and you will quickly see what I'm all about. I think I loaned it to Miss Betsy, so Miss Betsy has it right now, but I'll be happy to loan it to anybody that wants to read it. But anyways, that kind of concludes our faculty meeting. 15 minutes. Wanted to get you, rather than get everybody together, let's watch this on video. And if you like this, we'll keep doing it this way in the future. All right, thank y'all.